Well, today we got one up in Kelly Flats. If you're not from Colorado, Kelly Flats has a couple of bad spots in it. Just depends on how far in you are. This one seems to be just right in the entrance, so it's not going to be anything super crazy, and that's going to be on kind of the easier side, or what most people would consider the exit of the trail. Looks to be a Chevy Avalanche just right off the side of the road, so it should be pretty quick and easy. Because of that, I'm actually going to take our F450 up instead of the old F100 for a couple different reasons. One of those reasons is that the F100 can't really go over 50 miles an hour because it's geared a little bit too low for the 3-speed transmission that it has, and so it only pins out about 50-55, and I have an hour and a half drive. The other thing is that our 450 has an actual Century 412 on it, which is the bed model, and it's got 2 hydraulic winches. And I might get fought on this online, but you know, let them say what they want to, but hydraulic winches will overpower an electric winch any day of the week. Even though their rating may say that they're a little bit lower than what electronic winch may be, which some electronic winches, they'll go anywhere from, you know, when you're starting to get into truck stuff, 9,000 to 16,000. These hydraulic winches, they're 2 9,000-pound winches, but they will pull the world until they actually show any signs of fatigue. And what's cool about this truck being a little bit older is it has what's called worm-driven winches. These are the older hydraulic style winches, which are extremely strong, but they're extremely slow, so they don't winch in very quick. They're not geared very high, but they're geared really low. The only scary thing with worm-driven winches is they don't really show load very well. They just will start breaking parts, breaking cable, or explode the winch before you even really know that you got too much weight on there for what you're doing. And unlike a lot of the other guys, I'm sure that you can also see that I still use steel cable. I use steel cable on everything. Unlike everybody else that likes the nylon stuff, I get it for the braking purposes, but in the real tow world, you don't use nylon too much. It doesn't last that long, and there's too much opportunity for it to chafe on a lot of things, where, especially in the off-road world, if you're going to maybe possibly rub up against a rock or any of the ground, you have a high chance of that actually starting to fray those nylon cables, or nylon rope, I should say. And so the synthetic stuff is okay if you're just doing your weekend warrior stuff. At least in my eyes, I'm going to stick with steel cable. A little bit scarier if they break. They do still have certain signs when they do start to fatigue. You'll hear them, or the bands inside of them will start to break before sometimes if they let loose. But it hasn't killed me yet, so we're going to keep using them. But I'll see if I can get you guys some of the imagery of driving up. It's a beautiful drive. It's kind of, like I said, it's a long one, but it's through a canyon right now. A little bit later in the afternoon, so hopefully we'll be out up there before it gets super dark, but some storm clouds in, and we're just going to try to beat the weather. Folks, I think we have a turkey protest happening in front of us. Glad these guys don't have to pay any bills, but I do, and I gotta be somewhere. So if we could just move along and make sure no other traffic is gonna crash into us, that would be fantastic. Look at this super cool ranch right here. This place is gorgeous. Such a beautiful area. You got some deep pockets. And if you're in Colorado, I'll kind of hint you on some trails along our journey, like right here. Storm Mountain, this is the one side that's usually closed, but it's open right now for hunting season, so that's one of your options along this route. I get a lot of recoveries out of this canyon because of these super sharp curves, and a lot of people like to go through here at 100 miles an hour thinking that they're a race car driver, and I get to pull them out of the river all the time. So if you're ever coming through here, don't go super fast, outrageous speed, because you might be calling me if you decide that your car wants to take a swim down in that river. And right now it's pretty low, so I don't think you're gonna have quite the soft landing when it's all just a bunch of solid rocks. The next road that we will get to come up on is actually the dirt section of Buckhorn Road. And actually up the Buckhorn Road, there's quite a bit of trailing up there. You'll have trails like Moody Hill, and then hopefully one day Ballard may open, which would be really cool. That's an old trail that had been closed due to the floods back in 2013. The other kind of some cool trails up that way, you have a trail called Hurley, you have a trail called Greer. Also, you have the exit of Old Flowers Road, which I'll show you that in a little bit later. And some old trails like White Pine that'll hopefully be open, and Crystal Mountain one day. And there is the Buckhorn Road. Go down that way for a while and you'll start running into all those trails, but we are headed on further in. And then as soon as we get up to the top of this little hill right here where the school is, that turnoff that's up there, that actually takes you to another cool trail that we had done for the first time this year. It's actually called Old Flowers. Nothing technical, nothing crazy. It's more of like an overland and kind of camp style of trail. But yeah, if you turn right here, that takes you up that way and you go back in there for about 5 or 6 miles. And then you'll start the trail entrance up there. Super awesome area. There's a couple old cabins up there. Lots of cool places to camp. All of these trails have been affected by fire at one point. Whether it was our ones that was a couple years ago or even the older ones than that. The Cameron Peak one was the last one that had really gone through this area. And it's kind of done a lot of toll on a lot of, obviously, the trees up there, but with all the nitrogen that's been tossed into the soil, it's extremely green these last couple of years. So I'm sure the grow back is only going to come in 10 times stronger. But for right now, like I said, a lot of cool camping areas up that way, a lot of good big open spaces. I would highly recommend not camping anywhere near those stick trees because they do blow down all the time. We have to clear the trails around here all the time so people can keep working their way out. But another cool area to explore if you're here in Colorado. So this is the main entrance to Kelly Flats. And I am actually super happy he's not up that way because then you have a couple of obstacles right off the bat. One of the hill climbs you have to do is called Heart Attack Hill, and the bypass is actually called Aneurysm Hill. So just out of those two titles, you can only imagine this isn't very a fun place for a four-wheel drive F450 to go up with super stiff suspension. Although we do get calls of people stuck up in there all the time. But I'm happy he's not up that way. The next cool place to kind of come up if you want some light four-wheeling or adventure taking is right up here on Pingree Park Road. Pretty popular for just like dragging up your camper up here, or if you want to come up in like your car and go tent camping, you can. It does link you to a couple of trails up this way. You have stuff like Crown Point. That also takes you all the way back to the CSU campus, the mountain campus that's up that way. Super, super fun road in the wintertime. I guarantee you, if you go up in the wintertime and go snow bashing up there, you will go up Crown Point Road and you will not make it to the end where Zimmerman Trail, the hiking trail, starts. And if you do, you better call me. I'll say January. If you can make it all the way to the end of Crown Point in January, you call me and I want to see what you got up there. Talk about views from straight out of novels. It's so pretty up here. It is right at the beginning of the leaf changing time, so all of the aspens are starting to slowly get their color. It's gotten quite chilly up here in the last couple days. It also was reported that it threw down some snow up in Red Feather, which we're not terribly too far from it. I'm sure it's all gone at the moment, but crazy how fast it's coming in this year. We have made it into the small town of Rustic, and now we start our climb for the next 3 miles until we get up to the top and we get into the entrance of Kelly Flats. And I will show you where the trail entrance to 7 Mile is. It's right up this road as well. It's just before Kelly Flats. And then that way, if you guys want to come up. 7 Mile is a good snow bashing trail. It's super easy. They had just plowed it, just get it open from the flood and the burn damage. But it is a fun, easy trail to do. And like I said, quite a challenge in the wintertime as well. And then that would be the entrance into 7 Mile. And that will take you up, and then you'll go past a little power station. And that will link you into a couple trails up there, actually Swamp Creek, and a lot of other little fun, easy trails. Pretty friendly to a lot of the beginner wheeler for sure. And coming up right after our nicely color changing aspens, right here should be County Road 168, which, depending on which direction you're going, is either the exit or the entrance to Kelly Flats. So we will go and see where he is at. He's just right here through the S curves is what he is saying. So I'm wondering if I'll have to be backing in or not. But I might just pull in there first and then find a spot to turn around when I get up to him. But let's get out and log some hubs and go from there. Well, I don't have to look too hard to find him. He's right there. I don't think it's going to be wide enough, so we are going to start our journey of backing up there and get to him. This is the little short box 450, by the way. She is stacked. It's like a little pit bull, man. This thing's hard to kill. You hear that 7.3 just rumbling away. This is what your guys' view looks like as I get to do the backing up part. Just like I said, I don't remember how much turnaround room there is or isn't up here. But I'm glad you're all right. And like I said, I'm glad that that tree is right there.
One Jeep go by, and he offered to help, and I said, I got help coming. I said, I'm good. He says, well, that's okay. He said, I got a winch, but it doesn't work.
All right, well, let's start doing a little bit of pulling here. No gas, right? Just let it idle. All right, little bit of gas, just touch it. Yep, keep coming. Keep, oh. All right. I'm gonna say that you're out of there. Guys, I call that a success. He's on his way out. I gotta roll up some cable. We'll meet him down at the bottom, and then we go. Guys, I am finally back to my yard. I'm gonna put this wrecker away. I gotta switch over to a flatbed tonight, just in case I get any police work that comes in throughout the night. But that was the Kelly Flats recovery. Pretty quick, pretty easy, and he was very thrilled that we were able to come and get him. I will keep you guys up to date, but I do have a couple more trips coming up. I think by the end of this week, we have talked about doing Kingston. Come over here. So we'll probably do a Kingston run, and then I have one of my favorite places. We have Uray in October. I'm pretty stoked about that. That's going to be for our anniversary. I will take you guys along. We'll make another video on that. But until then, I'm going to go home and get some dinner and call it a night. And we will see you guys next time. I think definitely one of the better spots if you're wanting to see some really cool colors. Just hills of yellow.